Hey guys, let me tell you about this NBA moment that nobody really understands. The real version, not what you've been told. This is it.
Michael Jordan and Nike, the Air Jordan Revolution. Considered to be the most successful endorsement deal in the history of basketball, Nike went on to sign a rookie in 1984, but what happened next changed the history of sports marketing. Nike took a major risk with Michael Jordan during his rookie year, as at the time when Nike wasn't considered a powerhouse in basketball as it is today, he was given a contract that was modest in comparison to what his legacy turned out to be in the league, and the best part of his contract was the creative control and equity that was tied to the revenue of shoes. The terms of the endorsement was a $2.5 million deal over 5 years, a breakdown of $500,000 for each year. This was 3 times the previous highest NBA footwear transaction. As at the time, Nike was extremely careful of spending its entire marketing budget on one player. To be on the safer side, they brought about 4 different performance clauses, which is he was expected to win the Rookie of the Year, become an All-Star, average at least 20 points per game, and sell $4 million worth of shoes in the first 3 years of the deal. It turned out that decision and risk changed the world of sneakers entirely. When the first Air Jordan was introduced in 1985, its striking red and black design, which the NBA did forbid, quickly turned into a pop culture debate. The NBA had a 51% rule of players putting on white sneakers, which the red and black Air Jordan violated. And for every time Jordan rocked the sneakers, NBA gave him a warning letter and went on to fine him $5,000 per game, which Nike gladly paid it all. In a twist of event, Nike went on to use the NBA fine as a marketing strategy. They filmed a commercial that the NBA threw them out of the game, but couldn't stop you from rocking them. That commercial, called Banned, went on to evolve the brand. It converted into a mouth-watering number of sales. And at that point, Michael Jordan wasn't just an endorser anymore. He became an effective business partner. Michael Jordan went on to receive 5% royalty on all Jordan sales. And the most staggering part is he earns more in retirement from the sales today than when he was an active player on the court. Kevin Durant and Nike securing an all-time scorer. A brand can go from competition to consolidation, and that was what happened with Kevin Durant's endorsement career with Nike. When Durant joined the NBA in 2007, there were a lot of speculations about his skill as a scorer, and Nike moved quickly to sign him. The partnership developed into a $300 million 10-year pact by 2014, which put Durant's market value on level with the best in the league. Nike's plan was centered not only on his statistical excellence, but also on his adaptability as a cultural figure. It was quiet but appealing, introspective but influential. Nike ensured they matched Under Armour's offer to keep Durant in a bid to demonstrate how important he had become to retaining its dominance in basketball gear and apparel. Nike reportedly extended the agreement into a lifetime contract in 2023, showing that the alliance was not just profitable, but also a long-term pillar of the company's athlete roster. Kevin Durant went on to join Michael Jordan and LeBron James as the only Nike basketball players who have forever contracts. The durability of KD's shoe designs was one of the reasons Nike handed him a lifetime contract. Unlike many other players' clunky performance shoes, KD's was designed by Leo Chang, and they are recognized for being sleek and wearable even off the court. His partnership with Nike includes lifestyle clothes, accessories, and a strong emphasis on grassroots basketball. His Team Durant EYBL program, therefore assuring that he remains the face of Nike's young recruitment for decades. Derrick Rose and Adidas, a bet on young greatness. Adidas signed Derrick Rose to one of the most fascinating endorsement deals in NBA history in 2011, making a daring commitment. Rose appeared ready to represent the next generation of basketball players after winning an MVP, and Adidas decided to reward that commitment with one of the biggest long-term contracts ever given to an NBA player, a 14-year, $185 million deal. The duration of the contract ran from 2011 to September 2025. Adidas provided Rose with a platform clause that included branded shoes, marketing prominence, and an appearance at worldwide events, tagged to the clause at $4.8 million per year, in addition to a paycheck, $12 million annual retainer for the first 5 years, and usage of private plane. But it didn't end it there. There was family and friends clauses also, which allowed Rose to take care of his inner circle. Reggie Rose, who happens to be his brother, was paid $250,000 to $300,000 annually till the duration of the contract by Adidas, and Randall Hampton, who also happens to be his best friend, was paid $50,000 to $75,000 annually by Adidas for the duration of the contract. Unfortunately for Rose, injuries shortly after the signing halted his rise on the court, but Adidas stood to its agreement in a rare display of dedication to an athlete's brand identification. During his prime years, the D Rose shoe line became cultural icons, with aggressive designs that complemented Rose's explosive playing style. Adidas used the collaboration to reaffirm its dedication to basketball and promote the idea that it was prepared to make significant investments in future players. Tracy McGrady and Adidas, elegance before analytics. Tracy McGrady's collaboration with Adidas flourished in a time before sophisticated measurements determined players' worth. In the early 2000s, Adidas banked on McGrady's aesthetic prowess and signed him as a cornerstone athlete for $100 million. McGrady's effortless scoring technique and his unique T-Mac line did help make it one of Adidas's most successful basketball franchises. Adidas profited from long-term retail success, and McGrady became one of the highest paid of his time as a result of the contract. Although McGrady never took home a title, his support was independent of rings, as watchability equals to the brand being seen. Adidas recognized that fans purchase inspiration rather than just results. The T-Mac 1, 2, and 3 shoes were so popular because they offered hope that basketball could appear simple. It was reported that LeBron rocked the T-Mac 2 in high school. McGrady's time as an endorser went on to unravel that not only supremacy, but frequently leads to commercial success. LeBron James and Nike, a billion-dollar career partnership. When 18-year-old LeBron James made his NBA debut in 2003, Nike acted quickly to sign one of the most marketable rookies in history, as at the time there were several offers for LeBron to go with. A $115 million offer from Reebok, $60 million from Adidas, and $86 million from Nike for 7 years, plus a $10 million signing bonus. LeBron didn't hesitate to choose Nike. He made it known that he chose the brand for the long-term vision, despite him leaving roughly $20 million excess on the table from the Reebok offer. The collaboration with Nike generated a trademark for clothing and shoes in the early years, but it wasn't until 2015 that the deal really did make history. In December 2015, LeBron and Nike went on to sign a lifetime deal that is thought to be worth more than $1 billion, which was the first time in Nike history being officially committed to an athlete for a lifetime. Nike gained exclusive rights to James's branding and distinctive merchandise, while also establishing LeBron as a central figure in the company's basketball narrative. In addition to shoes and jerseys, LeBron's name appears on limited edition collections, digital content, and global joint marketing activities. LeBron presently makes an estimated $30 to $35 million from Nike. Unlike Jordan, who receives a percentage of all sales, LeBron's compensation is mostly a hefty guaranteed annual retainer that will continue even after he retires. LeBron and Nike's collaboration is among the most lucrative in sports history. Kobe Bryant and Nike, signature line and global appeal. Starting in the early 2000s, Kobe's partnership with Nike became one of basketball's most respected signature lines. After spending years with Adidas, Kobe decided to switch things up in 2003. He signed a multi-year deal with Nike worth over $40 million. At that very time, Nike saw him as this relentless competitor whose precision and drive perfectly matched what they stood for and knew he could control the market the way they wanted. Fast forward to the mid-2000s, the Zoom Kobe line was launched, and it really did push basketball shoe innovation forward in the market. most especially the Kobe 4s, which broke the mold with their low-cut design and features built for elite players. Both on and off the court, it was a top choice for many. But Nike wasn't just satisfied with selling shoes. They decided to take it a bit forward. Kobe was made the face of basketball culture worldwide. Eventually, Kobe's Nike earnings from royalties, apparel deals, and marketing partnerships hit over $100 million. Nike continued to add classic and lifestyle styles to Kobe's collection, which sold out quickly. Russell Westbrook and Jordan Brand, fashion meets ferocity. Russell Westbrook's importance was never confined to the box score. In 2015, he joined Jordan Brand, and the appeal extended well beyond triple-doubles. Westbrook played with obvious aggression. Every item felt urgent. Every drive has a unique feel. That enthusiasm extended beyond the court. Jordan Brand spotted something unusual, not the typical basketball face, but a disruptor, someone who moves quickly and expresses themselves freely. By agreeing to a long-term contract worth more than $150 million, Westbrook solidified his place as one of the brand's most important contemporary icons. He was relentless on the court, pounding the rim, quickening the tempo, and playing every minute as if it were crucial. He wore bright colors, sharp cuts, and a variety of unexpected options when he wasn't on the court. He didn't do what was popular, as he paid them no mind. Jordan Brand saw this and immediately banked on both sides of his life. Westbrook got a signature shoe called the Why Not. He got his first signature performance shoe, Why Not 0.1, which was officially released on January 15th, 2018. In addition to his performance shoe, he also got an off-court lifestyle signature called Westbrook O, which was released in 2015. He was able to express himself creatively. At this point, he became more noticeable. Instead of being a sign of conformity, he became the symbol of confidence and self-expression. His endorsement was not for the championship, but for the visibility, which he did deliver effortlessly. That meant whether his team was winning or losing, he remained in the spotlight. Some even consider him as a basketball influencer. YouTube police, right here, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you're committing a serious crime in the books of the NBA, so quickly smash the subscribe button and ensure you share with friends. Allen Iverson and Reebok, a lifetime legacy deal. Allen Iverson's Reebok sponsorship changed the way a non-mega superstar could sign an NBA shoe contract. Iverson entered the NBA in 1996 with street culture and cross-genre appeal, which Reebok invested heavily on. The renowned Answer Shoe series went on to provide Iverson with a signature platform at a time when Nike's traditional performance models dominated the market. In 2001, Iverson signed a lifelong endorsement contract with Reebok, one of the most bizarre business deals in sports, which many call the trust fund deal. This was as opposed to the traditional multi-year contract that expired when Iverson retired. Reebok committed to pay him annually even after he left the NBA, as well as set away millions in a trust. Reebok went on to set aside $32 million in a special account for Iverson, which he cannot access until he turns 55. Iverson, who was born in 1975, is set to formally receive his $32 million on June 7, 2030. However, in his 2013 divorce judgment from ex-wife Tawana, he is expected to go on a 50-50 split of the funds when it is made available. But in a twist, according to a report from eOnline, Allen Iverson and Tawana Turner have found a mutual ground to rekindle their love after a decade apart. If this works out, then there won't be a split, hopefully. Despite this, Reebok still pays Iverson $800,000 per year for the rest of his life. This money saved Iverson's life in the early 2000s, when allegations circulated that he had spent the majority of his $150 million-plus career NBA earnings. And in October 2023, his deal took a little step higher. Iverson's affiliation with Reebok changed from endorser to executive, where Shaquille O'Neal was named president of Reebok basketball, with Allen Iverson as the vice president. Iverson's Reebok deal still gives many goosebumps till today whenever it's been spoken about. Do let me know in the comment below what you think of the Allen Iverson's Reebok deal. Dwyane Wade and Lining, China's global NBA bridge. Dwyane Wade changed the course of his endorsement career in 2018 when he signed a lifetime contract with the Chinese sportswear company Lining, thereby expanding his worldwide reach beyond the typical Nike/Adidas deals. It was no doubt one of the ballsiest business moves in the history of sports. Wade, who climbed to NBA superstardom through repeated all-star selections, championships, and cultural cachet, played an important role in Li-Ning's international ambitions. Their agreement included a trademark shoe line with the Wade name, as well as a marketing platform that merged Wade's on-court experience and personal flair to create a product ecosystem that connected with customers globally. Li-Ning then offered him a 10-year deal worth $60 million, as well as significant business equity, stock. Li-Ning provided him with a full brand rather than just a shoe, which the likes of Nike had done. They established Way of Wade, WOW, as a subdivision to reflect the Jordan/Nike partnership. Wade's collaboration has a full creative input, which allowed him to personalize designs of both footwear and apparel. In late 2025, the Way of Wade 12 was officially launched to the market, and it has garnered a lot of positive reviews, where sneakerheads consider it as the highest quality performance sneakers in the market. Dwyane Wade and Lining collaboration has unraveled what a cross-border endorsement could look like in the long run. Victor Wembanyama and Nike, the next economic bet. Wembanyama was one of the most anticipated prospects in basketball history when Nike signed him in 2023 for a deal worth over $100 million. It wasn't just an investment, it was a deal that banked on Wembanyama's size, skill, and even futurism. Nike believed in his possibilities, and they ensured to get him on board when he was still playing in France, Metropolitans 92. Nike signed him, making it almost impossible for any other brand to speak with him until he arrived in San Antonio. They ensured that he was positioned as a global asset from the very start, prioritizing innovation and long-term narrative development. His deal was a big bet against the future, and his potential was the main focus. The contract was similar to that of LeBron James, which he signed in 2003, but it was bigger than it and also considered as the largest rookie sneaker contract in the history of the NBA. In the same way that Jordan's alliance defined the previous decade of basketball marketing, Wembanyama's collaboration with Nike might also define the future. Zion Williamson and Jordan Brand, betting on potential at scale. Honorable mention is the Zion Williamson deal with Jordan's brand. In 2019, the NBA noted a record-breaking rookie endorsement deal. Zion Williamson inked a 7-year, $75 million endorsement deal with Jordan Brand before ever playing an NBA game, making it the costliest shoe contract ever for a rookie. Zion went ahead to turn down several 9-figure deals, $100 million, from Li-Ning and Puma, because he wanted to be the face of a jump man, just like his idol Michael Jordan. His deal was considered as the richest annual rookie deal in the history of the NBA, pegged at $10.7 million annually. This is no doubt the most intense sneaker war the NBA had ever seen since the LeBron situation in 2003, while Jordan won the heart of Zion with a 7-year deal pegged at $75 million. It was painful. He left nearly $30 million on the table due to his personal preference. When he was asked why he simply chose the Jordan brand compared to Li-Ning and Puma, who offered more, he made it known he simply wanted to be the one who carries the torch for Michael Jordan. Jordan Brand simply made an investment in Zion's long-term cultural visibility in addition to his performance. Despite having little playing time, his trademark shoe launch reaffirmed that dedication, and the future seems to be promising for both sides of the deal. Zion still has a long way to go in the league, and there might still be more better offers as time goes on. But for now, fingers are simply crossed. Kevin Garnett and Adidas, intensity as a brand asset. The foundation of Kevin Garnett's collaboration with Adidas was emotional intensity. Adidas noticed more than just raw skill when Garnett joined the NBA right out of high school in 1995. They saw passion, unpredictability, and authenticity. At first, Garnett joined the league as a Nike athlete, but had several issues. Right in 1997, Nike wanted him to be a part of the original members of the Team Jordan, but KG wasn't interested in being under the Michael Jordan brand. He wanted a brand for himself. Later on, Nike proposed to him the Shocks, but just like he turned down the Team Jordan, he didn't want to be the face of Nike Shocks, but simply wanted a signature for himself. To him, he felt the Nike Shocks were not of substance to his taste. His determination paid off as he later got his own signature called the Air Garnet 1, 2, and 3, which Sneakers Head calls a classic in the retro market. However, an abrupt end came to the Nike deal, and he simply went on to And One in 2001 before moving to Adidas in 2003. He went on to sign a lifetime contract with Adidas in 2003, which was worth approximately $2 million annually. When he got on board with Adidas, he formed a super team of the Big Three, which includes himself, Tracy McGrady, and Tim Duncan. Just like how he ditched Nike, he moved on to the Chinese brand Anta, despite signing a lifetime deal with Adidas earlier. With Anta, Garnett went on to release Anta KG1, which also includes the popular Beat LA during the 2010 finals. Garnett has gone on to release 7 signature models with the Anta brand. However, Garnett has found his way back to And One 2018, but this time around as a creative director and global ambassador, where he's expected to oversee and relaunch the Street to Performance signature in a bid to bring back the nostalgia early 2000s collection. It has been a roller coaster for Kevin Garnett, moving from brand to brand with no major consequences. Charles Barkley and Nike selling attitude, not perfection. Nike and Charles Barkley deal was quite different from the usual norm. It was a renegotiation that actually worked out in the long run. Nike and Barkley were going to sign a huge deal worth $3 million annually in the early 1990s, which was undoubtedly a huge sum. However, at the time, Barkley's close friend Michael Jordan advised him to negotiate for $1 million in cash and the remaining $2 million in Nike stock instead of accepting the proposed deal. Although it was uncomfortable at first, Barkley trusted his friend's opinion. Barkley admits that he made more than 10 times what the original cash contract would have paid because Nike's stock split multiple times and surged in value over the next 30 years. The iconic "I am not a role model" commercial became one of the most talked about sports advertising of all time. Nike was giving both sanitized brilliance and genuineness, while Barkley's distinctive shoes, particularly the Air Max CB range, mirrored his aggressive approach and unabashed demeanor. Barkley became one of Nike's top earners of the decade as a result of the renegotiation, revealing that titles were not the only way to dominate endorsements. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, just know it's a great disservice, so smash the subscribe button and ensure you give this video a thumbs up. Luka Doncic and Jordan Brand, the global heir apparent. Before Luka came to the NBA, he was signed on contract with Nike in Spain. However, when he moved down to the NBA, he simply came as a sneaker free agent. In 2019, Luka signed a 5-year deal worth $100 million with the Jordan brand. At first, when he signed this deal, he wasn't giving a shoe signature. What he did in the first 3 years was to wear player editions of the Air Jordan line. But come 2022, he had proved he was a perennial MVP, and they went on to release the Jordan Luka one, which was successful on all ends. And in late 2023, the Jordan brand noticed he was becoming the face of the league. A massive extension contract was introduced, which is expected to run till 2029. The Jordan brand recorded a massive boost in market sales when Luka was traded to the Lakers in February 2025, which resulted in the Jordan brand doubling his merchandise. Luka has shown incredible value with his contract and signature line, while he smiled to the bank with a $20 million annual deal, while having a full creative input on all of his designs. Shaquille O'Neal and Reebok. Power, personality, and reach. By the time Shaquille O'Neal made his way into the NBA in 1992, he wasn't just a random guy, he was basically larger than life. However, Reebok was able to identify that Shaq wasn't just a dominant center in the league, he was a walking billboard. and they decided to bank on him. Reebok signed him to a rookie endorsement deal worth around $40 million with his signature shoe called Shaq Attack, which was a bold move for an unknown NBA player at the time. He was Reebok's first signature athlete in 1992, who also returned several years later to purchase the company. In a twist of event, Shaw turned down an extension and decided to launch his own sneakers line, the Shaq sneaker line, with the aim of being affordable after being challenged by a mother of a fan who lamented the expensive price of the Reebok sneakers, making him know that his partnership with Reebok was quite unaffordable for her. He went on to partner with Walmart for his Shaq U footwear, which retailed for about $15 and $30. It was at that time Shaq built his own downtime empire, unlike every other player who solely had to rely on a third party for their own brand. By 2021, Shaq and Walmart had sold roughly 400 million sneakers in the market, thereby earning him the title Jordan of the downstairs market. And fast forward to 2026, he is considered as a powerful executive in the sneakers industry. And in 2015, Shaq took a bold step by selling the rights to his name and image to the Authentic Brand Group, where he got on board as a shareholder. He didn't just settle for cash. He went ahead to get equity from the brand, making him the second largest individual shareholder at ABG. It was no doubt a smart move for Shaq, but just like Oliver Twist, he decided to take things further by buying Reebok from Adidas in 2022 for $2.5 billion, the same brand that had initially signed him in the early years of his career. In late 2023, he became the president of Reebok Basketball, and Allen Iverson became his vice president. He simply went from that underground player to owning one of the best brands in the world. Magic Johnson and Converse, star power before the shoe wars. Converse dominated basketball before the sneaker culture became a thing. Magic Johnson got into the NBA at an ideal time in 1979, and Converse soon established him as one of their flagship athletes. Magic, along with Larry Bird and then Michael Jordan, helped Converse dominate the NBA in the 1980s. Unlike every other deal, Magic Johnson didn't get the best out of his deal. At the time of the deal with Converse, he also got a deal option with Nike, but all he got from Nike was 100,000 stock option and $1 royalty for every shoe sold, as they were barely a few years old and didn't have substantial cash to back the deal up. On the other side, Converse offers Magic $100,000 cash yearly. But Magic at the time didn't really know what stock was. Chose the $100,000 cash annually with Converse because he wanted to take care of his family members immediately. If Magic had gone for the Nike stock option, it is estimated that he would have worth $5.2 billion today. He has been quoted saying, "If only he had proper knowledge of stock, Michael Jordan would have been making him money for every sneakers he sold." His partnership with Converse went on for 12 years, but he considered those years as an unhappy 12 years. Stephen Curry and Under Armour, the underdog effect. One of the most significant moments in NBA commercial history is Stephen Curry's sponsorship with Under Armour. After 4 NCAA and early NBA seasons, Curry was a rising MVP player in 2013, but he wasn't yet a worldwide superstar at the time. Nike had the option of partnering with him, but declined to match Under Armour's offer, instead signing him to a modest multi-year deal worth around $4 million. At that time, Under Armour was battling for relevance in the basketball market against giants like Nike and Adidas. But that decision was revolutionary. Under Armour's basketball identity was largely shaped by Curry's deep shooting and friendly demeanor, which changed people's ideas about what a company could accomplish with a single but emerging talent. Their collaboration developed into contracts worth an estimated $215 million for 12 years, which is considered as one of the wealthiest shoe agreements in the history of the NBA. By the time Curry had won back-to-back MVP awards and guided the Golden State Warriors to titles. Alongside with cash, the deal included 8.8 million shares of Under Armour stock, which at the time was worth around $75 million. Under Armour granted Curry complete creative freedom, and the Curry brand blossomed into a distinct company that boosted sales of apparel and lifestyle products in addition to sports sneakers. He was also named the president of the Curry brand. Although their partnership has been described as unique, Stephen Curry and Under Armour have, however, announced they are parting ways in late 2025. Curry is anticipated to become a sneaker-free agency in October 2026, while the final shoe made by UA, the Curry 13, is slated to be released in February 2026. Kawhi Leonard and New Balance, silence as strategy. In 2018, when Kawhi Leonard got a deal with New Balance valued at $12 million to $15 million annually, they were not a powerhouse in basketball at the time. And Leonard wasn't a traditional marketer either. It was two different groups coming together to build something different in the league. In 2011 to 2018, Leonard was with the Jordan brand, but their partnership was short-lived as it ended in a messy legal battle, despite the Jordan brand offering a 4-year extension valued at $22 million, but Leonard simply turned down the offer as he believes it didn't reflect his status as a 2-time Finals MVP. It didn't end there. After he left for New Balance, which many consider as a risky move, he sued Nike over the popular claw logo, but lost it as the judge ruled in the favor of Nike, which meant they owned the right to the logo. His New Balance deal was from 2018 to 2026, and Leonard's final MVP run with Toronto did elevate their partnership. It was so successful that it paved the way for them to sign other players like Jamal Murray and Tyrese Maxey. New Balance's deal with Leonard gave him all access to full creative control for their Kawhi signature line, while he became the face of the brand. James Harden and Adidas, a signature era. James Harden's enthusiasm, both on and off the court, gained attention when he joined the Houston Rockets from Oklahoma City in 2012. Adidas recognized Harden as more than simply an MVP caliber scorer, but also as a personality capable of carrying the basketball brand. In 2015, Adidas signed Harden to a long-term agreement worth $200 million, making him one of the biggest NBA endorsements at the moment. Before Harden and Adidas deal in 2015, he was with Nike, but they believed he was on Tier 2 level as opposed to the Tier 1 level of Jordan and LeBron. He wasn't given a signature shoe like them, but immediately his contract expired in 2015. Adidas took charge. Adidas provided Harden with full creative freedom and his own signature brand, which combined performance technology with lifestyle appeal. The Harden's Harden volume line is recognized for its vibrant hues and cushioning advancements, tailored to his distinct step-back game. According to his contract structure, Harden would represent Adidas Originals for streetwear and lifestyle apparel in addition to performance basketball. It didn't end there. He receives almost $15.5 million annually from the retainer alone. Since Harden had been wearing Nikes until the day the contract began, Adidas famously drove up to his house with a truckload of thousands of pairs of shoes to celebrate his signing. What made this contract so appealing was Adidas's positioning Harden as a pillar of its worldwide basketball strategy. Instead of relying solely on the usual traditional stars, Adidas gambled on a new generation, a creative scorer and cultural influencer. By the time his contract expires in 2028, Harden will have earned more money from Adidas, about $200 million, than the majority of Hall of Famers over their whole NBA playing careers. Damian Lillard and Adidas, the Dame Time commercial force. Damian Lillard's sponsorship with Adidas is the real definition of how consistent performance often leads to long-term brand loyalty. Following his draft, Lillard signed with Adidas in 2014, which was worth $100 million that covered for a decade and soon rose to become one of the league's most influential guards. His skills were truly incredible, which made it a safe haven, commercial-wise, for Adidas to invest in. In December 2024, Lillard signed a lifetime extension with Adidas after the duration of his first contract had come to an end, thereby extending his engagement with the company beyond typical player life cycles. This deal made him the first active player in this current era to join the elite group to receive a lifetime commitment, which was the same as Lionel Messi, although the lifetime deal wasn't disclosed to the public, but it did put him on the wavelength as LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kevin Durant. Adidas engaged in worldwide marketing, retail experiences, and digital storytelling highlighting Lillard, connecting his tale to broader cultural currents such as music, fashion, and gaming culture, all of which resonate powerfully with younger customers, which was their primary focus. It didn't stop there. Adidas renamed its basketball facility at their North American headquarters the Damian Lillard Court in 2024, marking the first time a player had been honored in this manner. In 2026, Adidas and Dame are coming through with the Dane X, which is to celebrate his 10th trademark shoe. It is expected to be released on February 13th, 2026. On the clause of his deal, Adidas also includes his rapping career, where they get to sponsor his performances and music videos. There you go, some of the mouth-watering endorsements deals in the history of the NBA. Lovers of the NBA, let me know in the comments section below which of these players' endorsement stories shocked you the most. I'll be in the comment below. Don't forget to like and share this video so you don't miss out on all of our videos.
One fall, one reckoning. But the NBA produces falls constantly. Players rise, players vanish, players transform. This next player's transformation is unlike anything you've seen. Stick around.
Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's career is no doubt one for the book. An MVP, one of the most explosive guards in the NBA, and a triple-double machine. However, the current standards of the NBA is merciless towards players whose strengths no longer match the winning pace of the league. Westbrook used to have some sort of overwhelming defense skill, but now what he took pride in at some point now affects the spacing and rhythm of the game. This has nothing to do with his effort, but more about his fitness. While Westbrook continues to dominate the ball, he now lacks the efficiency to back it up. His shooting often causes defenses to sag, making it quite easier for opponents to score, although coaches often limit his minutes in closing lineups, which is a tactic to give him his recognition despite the league progress beyond his delivery scale. On the other hand, his presence is considered more of a sacrifice than a gain. It's no doubt that considering his run in the league, retirement in 2026 would protect his legacy rather than prolonging the slide. De'Aaron Fox, on the other hand, is a functional successor to Russell Westbrook in the league. He's a guard built on speed, but with a more enhanced shot selection and defensive discipline that can compete effectively in the modern era of the league. This is not about Fox replacing Westbrook personality, but about the evolution of the league. Fox fit perfectly to the new reality of the game, as the NBA doesn't reward chaos as a strategy, but rewards when pressure is applied with caution. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is that player in the league who has mastered the art of basketball, from pacing to angles, timing, and dominance. For over 2 decades, he went on to rule games without trying to dominate them. And during his prime, Paul went on to average 18 to 19 points and 9 to 10 assists per game, thereby ranking among the leaders of the league in assists to turnover ratios and steals. Paul wasn't just productive, he was accurate with his moves, and during games, his strategy often gets through offenses. However, despite his ability, age factor has come knocking on his physical stamina, and this has eaten deeply to his availability, which has decreased in recent seasons. Since 2020, Paul has played fewer than 60 games in several seasons, which was quite the opposite when he was in his prime. His playtime has also gone on to be strictly controlled. The player who once in a time used to punish switches is no longer active. This time around, fast-paced guards often target him in space, thereby forcing teams to use the pre-switch coverage in a bid to protect him. At this point, franchises don't have to rely on him to influence their results, but to stabilize stretches and help control their late clock possession. Paul is still valuable to the league, but he's more restricted than ever. Having invested his time, skills, and sacrifice to the game, Chris Paul getting retired in 2026 is more of an honor, while the ovation is loud. A possible player who could fit into his shoe is Tyrese Halliburton. He's a modern-era player who has gone on to top the league in assists, averaging more than 10 per game, while scoring 20-plus points with an excellent efficiency. Halliburton is known to push defenses beyond the arc, pace, speed, and still go ahead to retain control of the game without slowing down possessions in order to conserve energy. His size also makes it easier for him to defend himself during games. Paul's confirmed retirement in 2026 doesn't reduce his genius, but helps preserve his legacy. And Halliburton could just be an upgraded version of him. DeMar DeRozan is that player who has honed a skill that the league has gradually lost. He possesses exceptional skills from his footwork, shot creation inside the arc, and balance, which are of great value. DeRozan has gone on to average more than 20 points per game during his career, with majority of his damage coming from 10 to 18 feet. During his peak, he was among the league leaders in mid-range attempts and efficiency, frequently converting at 45 to 50%. In a league that values threes and rim pressure, DeRozan's shot selection has gone on to reduce spacing and often slows down offensive tempo in games. Across multiple seasons, he has regularly attempted fewer than 3 three-pointers each game, giving room for defenses to reduce the floor without consequence. And in postseason scenarios, defenses often give up contested mid-range shots, while driving lanes vanish and possessions are directed into shots that benefit the defense throughout the course of a series. DeRozan's worth has remained unique to the league rather than being scalable. This distinction of him is quite critical when defenses are prepared. A possible full-time substitute when DeRozan retires is Brandon Ingram, who is not just a replica but a backup development. Ingram operates in a frequency that is similar to DeRozan. He fits into the middle position, averaging 23 to 25 points per game in recent seasons, but with a more versatile depth. Ingram attempts to give or more three-pointers for each game, and at his peak, he often shoots around 38% from a distance. He also gets to average 5 to 6 assists, thereby extending games instead of terminating possessions. With the likes of Ingram, DeRozan can go into retirement having it in mind that the league is in good hands. Andre Drummond once dominated the box score of the NBA in a way that few players have done so. From 2015 to 2018, Drummond topped the NBA in rebounds per game 3 times, averaging about 15 to 16 rebounds per game. Although double-digit rebounding was not an accomplishment, instead it was expected in the game. And at his peak, he was ranked among the league leaders in offensive rebounds, therefore accumulating extra possessions almost by himself. However, the league has found its way to adjust its expectations of centers. Unlike before, rebounding without substantial defensive control no longer has the same impact. Drummond's constraints, on the other hand, proved almost impossible to ignore. Guards often push him away from the basket in a pick-and-roll coverage, thereby causing his recovery speed to lose momentum. Despite his physical appearance, he was unable to evolve into a more reliable rim protector. He went on to average just 1.5 blocks per game or less than that for the majority of his career. Drummond scores effectively close to the rim, but outside of the paint, opponents disregard him as his presence is not really challenging from an offensive standpoint. A possible modern replacement for him when he goes into retirement is Jarrett Allen. Allen isn't just another random player on the court. He averaged 10 to 11 rebounds per game, which is fewer than Drummond, but gets to pair them with real defensive impact. Allen consistently ranks among the league leaders in field goal percentage, which is about 65%, and goes ahead to provide vertical rim protection, thereby averaging 1.5 to 2 blocks per game, and also outperform switches. During the older seasons, Drummond's ability thrived effectively, but the current system of the league fits Allen's better. Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's importance in the NBA was never overstated. It was all about his leverage, angles reduced, possessions bent in order to have enough swing outcomes. During his peak season, In Toronto, he went on to average 17 to 18 points, 7 assists, and still achieved top 5 offenses without a dominating usage. He was simply classified as a point guard who controlled games without even owning them. Just like some of his colleagues in the league, age has gone on to destroy the very edge that distinguished him. Some of his abilities have declined over time, his defensive resistance and his sideways quickness has also declined. Guards now often find it easy to hunt him in space, thereby forcing him to switch, which was a determinant factor the Toronto had relied on for their survival in the league. In recent seasons, Lowry's scoring has gone on to dip to single digits, and his rim pressure has dropped significantly. He became more of a facilitator than a threat to the game he once dominated. He averages less than 10 points per game and often depends mostly on shot-up shooting instead of creating opportunities. While his intelligence still holds ground, his physical agility does not. Lowry now gets to serve as a situation stabilizer, as opposed to being a nocturnal driver of structure. A possible successor to Lowry in the NBA is Jalen Brunson, who thrives more on footwork, decision-making, and balance. Brunson continues to bend coverage and average more than 26 points and 6 assists per game. He also gets to finish through contact and gets to take on defensive pressure instead of avoiding it. Unlike the late career of Lowry, who gets to manage possession, Brunson, on the other hand, demands them. YouTube police right here, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you're committing a serious crime in the books of the NBA. So quickly smash the subscribe button and ensure you share with friends. Brook Lopez went on to spearhead one of the contemporary NBA's most effective rebranding. During the early stages of his career, Lopez was a low post scorer who averaged 18 to 20 points per game, and later on, he evolved into a floor spacing rim protector, thereby prolonging his usefulness in the league into his mid-30s. He shot over 37% from 3 during his peak in Milwaukee, giving him an outstanding defense, and also got to finish in the top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year votes. His reinvention, however, has its limits. At this point, Lopez got more reliant on scheme insulation as his foot speed had decreased drastically. The franchise began to drag him into ghost moves, spaces with pick and rolls, thereby removing his rim protector before it could be used. Lopez's block total remained quite respectable. He was doing 2.5 blocks per game at his peak, but on the other end, his recovery speed reduced his defensive margin. No doubt, the shot remains in his arsenal, but the pressure it produces has subsided over time. His release is often slow, while defenders close out with control. Lopez still adds value to the game, but it is quite conditional and mostly a matchup dependent. While Lopez now serves as a backup to Ivica Zubac of the Los Angeles Clippers, his possible successor is Miles Turner. Turner is that quality player who averages 2 or more blocks per game while shooting 35% from 3 and still returning fast enough to resist switches and also provide a rim deterrence with more mobility. Lopez's evolution did stand the test of time, and him going into retirement in 2026 might just be the rightful crown to his efforts. P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker has remained in the league for years by refusing to back down. He has defended some of the bigger guys in the league, absorbed contact, and even converted corner threes into just enough offense in order to keep the game accomplished. While he was in Milwaukee and Houston, his formula was successful. He went on to change positions, average 36 to 39% of his shots from the corners, and still went on to assist small ball lineups in surviving without a conventional rim protector. Tucker's defensiveness in the game became more situational as he was opposed to the systematic, and his foot speed deteriorated. But despite his limitations, Tucker could still compete in the post. But when it came to tagging rollers, recovering for shooters, or even chasing guards, that was where his problem lies. Tucker averaged less than 4 points per game in recent seasons, and defenses openly shunned him on the court without hesitation. While Tucker is 40 and still active, his retirement is closer than ever, and a possible modern era player that can match his frequency is Herb Jones. Jones is that player who guards not only positions, but also activities. He has gone on to disrupt timing, while he averages 1.5 plus steals per game, enhancing shooting without disrupting flow, and often blocks shots from the wing. Al Horford. For more than a decade, Al Horford has extended his career by deriving value from early rotations, clean posture, and defensive communication in the league. Up until his mid-30s, Horford has continued to be a valuable player who can simply interpret moves even before they get to their full potential. Both Horford's rebounding and blocking rates have declined significantly in recent seasons of the league, hovering around about 6 rebounds and under 1 block per game in the league, while his three-point shooting, which was once a reliable release valve to franchise, has also dropped to 35%. And at this rate, he has a slower release rate, which often allows defenders to easily recover without scrambling as he continues to spread the floor. However, what used to be a dangerous move no longer converts to coverage for him anymore. With the contenders in the league, vertical contests do not get to serve as a deterrent anymore, as elite finishers now boldly convert through Horford as opposed to around him. In order for Horford to stay effective in the game, he's expected to play selected minutes, lineup support, and also matchup protection, which shows he's mostly managed instead of being freely deployed to own the court as a standard player. Horford, who is presently with the Golden States after a 2-year deal with them in October 2025 as a veteran stabilizer, is expected to be his final destination before retirement, as prolonging his run could deter a large part of his history. Turning on a searchlight for a possible successor for Horford is Bam Adebayo, who gets to read offenses instinctively and gets to average 20-plus points per game, 10 rebounds, and still gets to actively guard every action without losing his mobility. In a situation where Horford anticipates survival, Bam often gets there early enough to erase defenses. Kevin Love. Kevin Love came into the NBA as an incredible powerhouse. He scored, controlled the glass, and punished switches in his own ways. In Minnesota, he averaged 26 points and 13 rebounds by dominating on defenses instead of spacing them. Love took a step back as the pace of the game improved. He easily went into a shooter mode when needed, and this kept him on several rotations. Fast forward to 2026, while playing for the Jazz, where he serves as a stabilizer for a much younger roster, he currently averages 7.3 points per game and 5.1 rebounds per game also. Unlike what he was known for during his peak, he can no longer defend the perimeter or get to often switch to smaller guards. The gravity of his shot is still in check, which can often force defenses to stay hyperactive. But at 37 years of age, his physical toll is often rested on a back-to-back, as his sideways movements has deteriorated to the extent he often needs to stay hidden in some particular defensive zones in order to deliver an optimal play. At this point, defenders didn't fear the next step. They simply came after breakdowns, which they knew he couldn't prevent anymore. While he has paid his dues to the league, bowing out might be the best option for him in 2026. A possible successor for Kevin Love in the league is Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen often owns the floor. He doesn't forget attacking it. He averaged 23 points per night and also got to shoot at 40% from 3. With Markkanen, Kevin Love can go fully into retirement, knowing well the ball is in the hands of a smart player. DeAndre Jordan. Currently on his 18th NBA season, DeAndre Jordan gave his best on the court. He completed lobs, took ownership of the glass, and corrected errors. Jordan shot over 65%, averaged 12 to 13 points per game, and 15 rebounds during his prime with the Clippers. He also did rebounding twice in the NBA. With Jordan on the court, there was a price to pay for attacking the rim against him. But as time went by, Jordan became more of a locker room stabilizer as the league got more fierce. With the Pelicans, which he did move to in October 2025 on a 1-year deal for $3.6 million contract, his role is strictly situational, where he's expected to provide short physical bursts of rebounding. Unlike the stats he commanded at his peak, he currently averages 4.5 points and 5.0 rebounds per game in a limited game time. While Jordan can still throw down a spectacular dunk that reminds the world of his prime, his lateral quickness has greatly diminished, giving him a target for the league's high-octane, five-out offensive schemes. He has the highest career field goal percentage, with 67.4%, thereby reflecting his career-long dedication and sacrifice to high-efficiency finishing. However, as the Pelicans go to a younger core, 2026 appears to be the end of the road for one of the most durable and popular big men of the modern age. While it is expected for power to change hands and Jordan goes into retirement sooner than later, a possible replacement for him in the league could be Clint Capella. Capella still plays above the rim, but he moves effortlessly. He does average 11 to 12 rebounds and 1.5 blocks per game. With Capella, DeAndre Jordan can humbly retire, knowing fully well that the league is in safer hands. Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris built his NBA career as one of the feared tough guys. He defended with his chest, loved contact, and never hesitated to take powerful shots. During his prime time, his strategy worked effortlessly. While in Boston and Los Angeles, he averaged 14 to 16 points per game and shot about 37% from three, providing the franchise with a forward who could score without shrinking. However, by 2026, the league's requirement for toughness had changed. Franchises no longer desire stationary enforcers. They prefer versatile athletes who can defend several actions without fouling. While he still has a high-level jump shot that is valued in the league, his lack of lateral mobility makes him a defensive liability in the fast-changing world of the NBA. Although his standing as a league enforcer is certain, Keegan Murray takes his place as a possible successor. Murray offers size without friction. He averages 15 or more points per game and shoots better than 40% from three, moves freely without the ball, and defends inside structure. Keegan Murray stands as the improved modern version of Marcus Morris. Patty Mills. Patty Mills stayed in the NBA by weaponizing movement. For over 16 seasons, he served as the engine box of every franchise he joined, most notably the San Antonio Spurs. Mills scored 10 to 11 points per game and hit more than 38% from three, thereby causing defenses to worry as they followed him through an endless maze of pin downs and handoffs. His importance stemmed from the fact that his shots arrived quite early and defenses got to react after some nanoseconds later. But in 2026, all of those attributes he wore that benefited him have been obliterated by time. The separation that formerly characterized his game has disappeared as his 6'0" frame has caught up to the league-wide recovery quickness. Mills' scoring fell below 4 points per game, and his three-point efficiency approached league average during his most recent NBA stints with the Jazz and Clippers in 2025. At this point, defenders no longer panic or fidget to his movements on the court anymore, as his shooting gravity that often puts defenders on the edge has simply declined. The defensive deterioration has become more pressing as Mills's has lost lateral quickness, which makes him a target in the current switch-heavy of the present NBA. Malik Beasley is the contemporary-day successor to Patty Mills. Beasley offers the exact shooting gravity that is required in today's game through sheer volume and immediacy. Coming off a 2024-25 season in which he averaged more than 16 points and made 319 three-pointers, which happens to be one of the highest figures in the league, Beasley brings the defensive dedication that Mills previously did. Jeff Green. Jeff Green is known as the NBA's universal connector, and as of 2026, he retains the league record for playing with the most franchises, where he shows his durability and reputation as the ultimate professional. Green has played with Houston for the past 3 seasons, bridging the gap between their rebuilding years and their current 2026 drive for contention after winning a championship with Denver in 2023. Uncle Jeff was a skilled slash and stretch forward who could fill whatever void a coach needed, and he was renowned for his high-flying posters. But as of January 2026, the 39-year-old's responsibilities have mostly moved from the essentials of the court to the locker room. He is currently averaging a career-low 2.1 points per game and 0.4 rebounds per game. As for his foot speed, it has gone on to prevent him from becoming a reliable member of a highly intense defensive rotation, even though he can still turn back the clock for a single dunk or a timely corner three. While Jeff's contract is slated to expire at the end of the 2025-26 season, and while he has hinted that his goal of reaching 20 years may be within reach, 2026 almost feels like the end of a resilient career. Despite his accomplishments, the league is expected to move on, and Tari Eason is the modern-day successor of Jeff Green. Eason has the same Swiss Army knife adaptability that Green often used to characterize his career. Eason, just like a young Jeff Green, is a disruptive athlete capable of guarding several positions, running the floor in transition, and also converting several open jump shots. LeBron James. For more than 2 decades, LeBron James has been tagged an outlier, a player who seemed to defy the laws of basketball all around. At age 41, he is the oldest active player in the NBA as of January 2026. However, the invincibility that once distinguished his prime has finally broken. His 2025 to 2026 season has been more about planned survival rather than supremacy. Despite his sciatica scare at the beginning of the season, he continues to defy the age curve. LeBron has evolved from a nightly force of the court to a high-level tactical surgeon. Despite his situation, LeBron continues to be an effective player, averaging 20.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 6.5 assists per game. But the meaning of those figures has shifted. He no longer has the tenacity to apply pressure for 48 minutes. Instead of that, he serves as a facilitator for extended periods of the game, saving his energy for brief, powerful outbursts. LeBron often gets to depend on his jump shot to deliver optimal results, but it has gone on to replace the rim-shattering drives that once caused defense teams to crumble. In recent seasons, LeBron has spent more time on the perimeter while hitting approximately 35% from deep, as his defensive influence has become purely situational. The physical toll is quite visible in the Lakers system. Luka Doncic is without a doubt LeBron James's contemporary heir. Luka has already taken over the title of the point forward in Los Angeles, scoring 33.6 points per game to lead the league and directing the offense with the same brilliant mind that LeBron used for 20 years. LeBron James is entering his final months of his current contract, and the big question is, how soon should he say goodbye? Do let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, just know it's a great disservice, so smash the subscribe button and ensure you give this video a thumbs up. Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry did not only play the game of basketball, he altered its form. For 17 seasons, he served as the sun in the Golden State Warriors, bringing about accomplishments, causing defenses to rotate, scramble, and panic whenever he crossed half court. By January 2026, the iconic player Stephen Curry remains active, but the actual agility that is required to power him is beginning to go idle. Curry, who is 37 years old, is no longer that unstoppable force he used to be during his prime, as the time factor knocks on his door. Curry's 2025 to 2026 season has become a balancing act between his top productivity and physical preservation. After sustaining a left ankle sprain on December 22nd, 2025, which lasted through the holidays, despite these challenges, his performance remains quite impressive. He averages 28.8 points per game and recently scored 31 points with 6 triples in a comeback victory over Utah on January 3rd, 2026. At this point, he's expected to put in more efforts to keep up with his accomplishments. His trademark off-ball mobility, which once made him a ghost on the floor, has slowed. He now often relies more on purposeful set plays and the veteran spacing supplied by his new partner, Al Horford. Stephen Curry is being expected to carry a load that his body is beginning to reject quietly as the Warriors struggle to stay above 500. For the first time in his career, the DNP, rest lines and the box score aren't simply tactical anymore. They're now essential. While several players in the league have attempted to replicate Curry's Curry slide, Trae Young is the only one who has successfully converted Curry's long-distance gravity into a full-fledged offensive strategy and might as well be his possible successor in the league. Trae averages 27 points per game and 11 assists. With Curry's contract extension set to expire in 2027, the urgency might slowly creep in 2026, but fingers are crossed. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is the most unguardable player in the history of basketball, a 7-footer with the handle of a shift defend and a release point that often makes even the best defense ineffective within a twinkle of an eye. Durant joined the Houston Rockets in a blockbuster trade in June 2025 that sent Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks to Phoenix, with the goal of capitalizing on his final top years. Durant's efficiency, even at 37, is still a statistical wonder. He's presently averaging 24.8 points on 50.1% shooting in the league, despite it being pegged at 40 minutes. Durant has accepted the role of the ultimate closer after agreeing to a 2-year, $90 million agreement in October 2025. With him taking around $30 million less than his maximum in order to offer Houston roster some flexibility. KD can concentrate on late-game isolation and high-leverage scoring since the Rockets have surrounded him with top defenders like Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr., thanks to the extra cap room. But right now, the table has turned as point guard Fred VanVleet is out of the game due to an ACL tear. Durant, on the other hand, is having to make more plays than he had anticipated, which is expected to put his physical endurance to the test in the fast-paced Western Conference. With his retirement date coming up, Victor Wembanyama is Kevin Durant's contemporary successor. Although Wemby has carried that blueprint to a horrifying end, Durant was the first to demonstrate that a 7-footer might be a main perimeter option. And in 2025, Wembanyama was more than just a scorer. He is a nexus for both offense and defense. He has the same fluidity and high-release jump shot as Durant, but he also has an 8-foot wingspan, which enables him to influence the game in ways that Durant was never able to do at the rim. For Durant, legacy will be more important than volume during the 2025-26 Houston season. He has made it clear that he intends to retire as a Rocket in 2026. James Harden. James Harden was the NBA's ultimate offensive optimizer. During his peak years, he didn't just play within a system, he was the system. A top-notch player that turned the step-back three and foul drawing into an art form, which the league had never witnessed before. Unfortunately, reverse is the case now. Playing for his hometown LA Clippers, Harden isn't the volume-scoring ISO machine who dropped 36 a night anymore. He has simply morphed into something different, a high IQ floor general who gets to pick his spots. Harden's numbers are still quite impressive. He averaged 25.7 points per game and 8.0 assists per game, but his approach is completely different. That 2-year, $81.5 million deal he inked last offseason was basically him saying, "I'll be Kawhi's setup guy." Gone is that explosive first step that used to guarantee either a bucket or free throws. Now he often leans on old man strength and crafty veteran moves to get through traffic. With his days being numbered in the league, the ultimate torch could possibly be passed on to Tyrese Halliburton. In places where Harden slowed everything down to dictate pace, Halliburton does the exact opposite. He speeds it up. Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson built his career on the scariest 0-100 shooting streaks the league has ever seen. At 35, Thompson grinds through a rough stretch with Dallas, where his three-point shooting has cratered to a career-worst 35.1%. Everything changed in Dallas after they dealt Luka Doncic to the Lakers early in 2025. Without Luka's gravity creating those easy looks, Klay has been forced to manufacture his own shots more effectively. But the problem here is his surgically rebuilt legs just can't handle that workload anymore. He's averaging 11.1 points per game. Jason Kidd has moved him to the bench. For the first time in over a decade, he's not starting games. On defense, the iron wall has basically collapsed. Young guards actively target him now because they know his lateral movement is shot. Meanwhile, Max Christie has gone on to emerge as the heir apparent. While Klay watches from the sideline of the court, Christie becomes Dallas's go-to 3-and-D guy, thereby draining 46% from deep and locking down opposing wings. Christie's essentially the younger, bouncier version of what Klay used to be. He catches and shoots, sure, but he's also got the athleticism to attack hard closeouts. It's no doubt the rightful successor once Klay Thompson hits retirement. Jimmy Butler built his career on being uncomfortable, not just playing for Miami, but becoming the culture itself, dragging some 8th seed to the finals through pure, stubborn will. But here in January 2026, the whole Jimmy thing has shifted into what feels like a final kind of desperate chapter. After that messy Miami exit, Butler, who is now Golden State's mercenary, signed a 2-year, $121 million deal, which many basically consider as a ring or bust insurance policy for Curry's last real shot. He's 36, but still putting up a gritty 19.5 points and 5.0 assists per game. But that playoff Jimmy gear, where he'd drop 40 while locking up their best guy, that's becoming pretty rare. And in 2026, he's not the engine anymore. He's now considered as a finisher. He gets to spend 3 quarters picking his spots, saving a body that got destroyed by all those Thibs minutes and deep playoff runs. The lateral quickness that used to let him lock up elite wings has begun to fray. Although he still leads Golden State in steals, but now he's leaning on help side rotations to cover for his feet that just aren't keeping up anymore. It's obvious his retirement date is calling sooner than later, and a possible replacement for his spot is Anthony Edwards. Ant-Man grabbed Butler's whole competitive alpha blueprint and mixed it with generational athleticism. Edwards is the modern premier two-way force now, who averages 28 points per game while embracing that same physical, muck-it-up defensive approach Jimmy once pioneered. Damian Lillard. Dame time wasn't just a nickname, it was pure terror for opposing defenses. During his peak season, Damian Lillard could end the season with a 35-footer before the franchise could even process what had happened. He was the most dangerous late-game player in the league. But for 2025 to 2026, the watch has stopped. Lillard's grinding through rehab right now, missing the entire 2025 to 26 season after tearing his left Achilles during Milwaukee's playoff run. For his age, this situation is considered a basket sentence. Here's where it gets wild. The Bucks waived and stretched his contract in July 2025 because of luxury tax issues, cold business moves. However, days later, Dame did something nobody saw coming. He signed a 3-year deal to come home to Portland. He's making a record $70 million this season. This includes buyout plus new salary. But the irony is he hasn't stepped on the court for once this season. Portland's already moved on to their young guys, with the cities holding out hope for one last Dame time moment in 2027. But to be frank, the explosive pull-up from the logo version of Lillard, that's probably done. Ja Morant is the guy now. He has gone on to inherit that fearless small guard agility that made Dame so special, thereby becoming the league's best late-game weapon. Morant has gone on to refine his shot while keeping that insane rim pressure active. The difference between this duo is where Lillard executes from distance, Morant uses that gravity-defying speed to get to wherever he wants. These are every NBA player who needs to retire and their possible substitute. Lovers of NBA, there you have it. Let me know in the comment section which of these players made the NBA fun to watch. I'll be in the comment. Don't forget to like and share this video.